3-0 after our 35-6 rain-drenched win at Hernando last week. And Coach, 3 games, 3 rains, I guess you could say. Friday night is community tailgate night against Oxford, and it's supposed to be clear and in the 90s.
Is that a good or a bad thing, Greg?
I'm going to take clear as good. I can handle 90s, I think.
You know, being back at home, you know, being away for 2 weeks and having some normal weather, I hope that is good for us. We'll see. We've played really well on the road the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
So just got to see, got to go out there and play and have fun doing it and take advantage of the atmosphere that's been created here throughout the years.
Absolutely. Tupelo jumped out on top 35-0 in the first half and never looked back, got that running clock. And on a game like that, that's your best friend, is the running clock.
For sure, get in there, get out of there. You know, and I told the team some of the positives from Friday night. One thing is you understood the assignment, you know, went in and did it. And to get some young guys in there too, to get some reps, and you know those guys got to take advantage of those reps because they possibly could be playing out here in a big game going forward.
You're always one injury away from being the guy.
The next guy up. That's right, always.
A little different Friday night because we were playing on grass, so the field conditions were not the best. I can attest to that. My shoes were just about ruined from all the mud and you don't see many crown fields anymore, and they had one obviously for the drainage. Did you have to change anything game plan wise, or was it to run anyway?
I mean, I think everybody knows that probably played in our favor with what we do. The biggest thing is we told our guys, like, take a new pair of long spike cleats. It don't matter. Take a long pair of spike cleats. Change at halftime if we have to. You know, just be prepared for it to be a nasty, we call it wave weather, you know, when the weather's bad like that, no matter the elements, we call it wave weather, and adapt to whatever you're playing in, and our kids did that, and, it was obviously an advantage for us with what we do offensive and defensively, and, I really didn't have to change much game planning wise.
Gotcha. Defense gets the stop to open the game, and then on the first play from the line of scrimmage, JJ scores and ball game.
Yeah, anytime you start a game like that, momentum-wise, it's huge for you, and breaks the other team's soul.
It does.
And when that happened, it was kind of like, it could be a long game for them and a quick game for us.
3 touchdowns on the night, all coming, I think, in the first quarter. Is that right?
I think so. You know, he's been solid early on.
He has been
very solid early on.
8 touchdowns, 7 rushing, 1 on a kickoff return. Noah, despite the rain, had another great game, some beautiful passes for touchdowns, and it was as solid as we've had this year. And you said every week we're going to get better, and there's no questioning of that.
We have to, though. You know, we have to get better just because told the guys, I've told you, it gets harder and harder for here.
Right.
And now we have a really big test because, some people will say the last three teams we played are, they have some question marks.
Right.
They're kind of some unknowns. You know what Oxford's going to be, you know what Houston's going to be, you know what West Point and our division is going to be going forward. So we'll really figure out a lot about ourselves this week.
Oxford, 7 o'clock kickoff. Community tailgate starts at 5. You can come out at noon to start setting up. Your tent is on a first-come, first-serve basis. Oxford is 1-2 coming in. That's not the norm for them. We've really dominated them the last 2 games. Pretty solid. There last year, we fell behind real quick, and then, I don't know, it was just a bad opening start for us, and then we recovered nicely and going and win pretty handedly last year.
Yeah, we I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Obviously this is a rivalry type of game. We've played them very well the last 2 years. They're not your typical 1-2 team also either.
Right.
And they've lost to South Panola and Grenada, 2 of the best teams in 6A football. That would beat a lot of teams. So you can't go by their schedule. You can't go by their record. That's the one con of making teenagers understand.
Right.
Like, you can't go by a game basis. But I would hope and I would think our kids have been playing their guys since 7th grade. there's always been a rivalry there. You would think our guys would be up for it and wanting to, put it on them for sure.
Right. And historically speaking, it's not Starkville or West Point, but in the last 15, 20 years, this has become a huge rivalry. Former division foe, now we're opposite divisions. 13-7, Tupelo leads the all-time series, and it's 45, 50 minutes separate the two schools.
I mean, you got some schools that are similar but different.
Right.
I mean, I think that's some of it. Their rise, Chris Cutcliffe has kind of put them on the map as a head coach. They're one of the best coaching staffs in the state. They always play hard. They're always prepared. You always have to prepare for them differently because they bring a different wrinkle in each phase of the game. And, it's always to be a tough test. You never feel comfortable that week. You have to go out and beat them because they never beat themselves. And you just never know. You never know the tone of your team and, how they're going to be. I asked one coach yesterday at Price, so how'd you feel about practice yesterday? He said, I kind of felt too good. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Sometimes when you go out and you feel really good about stuff, it's not a good thing. So we'll see,
Is that because the leadership on your team is really starting to evolve and take over like you want it to?
I think your alphas understand the assignment. I think your guys that are your guys that are your starters, that are your guys that you're counting on to make plays, they are out there and they're having a business-like approach of like, hey, during this period, we got to get this done because of this, because of why.
Right.
We're doing this in pass scale because this is what they're good at, or we're doing this in inside, or we're doing this during Indy. And so I've seen that. The thing we need to improve on is maybe some of the younger guys getting to that level of where the older guys are, because you're only just as good as your young guys and your scout team and things like that.
When you look back from the week leading into the Whitehaven game to this week leading into the Oxford game, where have you seen the biggest improvement?
I think you've seen it in confidence, and I think you've seen it in just the experience. The guys that haven't got the experience that, it was their first time, it was their kind of feeling themselves out, you've seen those guys improve every week. You can say, I mean, we sit down as a staff a good bit and we talk about what guys are taking a step forward, what guys are taking a step back, what guys are stagnant. And for the most part, every kid that has played, that has contributed is taking a step forward, is getting better in some type of areas. And that's just the biggest thing. You've seen improvement by everybody, and we've got to keep improving because you can ask anybody. I think everybody knows our ceiling's way up here, and we're nowhere near it. Which is not a bad thing that we're nowhere near. We've just got to take the initiative as a staff and players to take those little bitty steps every day.
You got 3 physical games coming up before divisional play start. Obviously, Oxford this week. We've already talked about Houston coming in next week for homecoming, and then going to West Point. Yeah, right. Nice non-conference schedule there, Coach. Do you back off a little bit on practice, or do you rev it up even more?
I mean, you gotta take some time in there to make sure you're iron sharpening iron. So you got to take some time to do some one-on-ones and stuff. But you do have to be smart of, hey, we're going to be physical to this point, but also too, we want to be fresh when we go into play Friday. We feel like we've got a physical team, and until we might have to. It might take a one of those hard-bought lessons out on a Friday night to say, hey, we're not that physical.
Right.
Right now, non-division is to get better. We've won a lot of games in the past 2 years. It's about winning the ones at the end, and that's the plan. And we just want to improve each week and get our dues to division for sure.
Again, Friday night, 7 o'clock on the blue turf. After 2 weeks on the road, Oxford comes to town, tailgate 5 to 7. So come on straight over from the tailgate. Do you feel like the community tailgates come as big as homecoming now?
That's just as big or bigger.
If not bigger,
I've seen it grown so much the past few years. I mean, those crowds, that's out there, and then they come over here. I mean, that's what we're having meetings this week prepping for it, and it's like they're preparing to be even bigger, especially when you get a really good opponent come in too. So that's the biggest thing is it's. I mean, when we have a big crowd like that and a good showing, it helps our. I mean, but these guys deserve it every game too.
Right.
But you know, community tailgate and homecoming is going to be a jam-packed crowd.
You started at the tailgate of doing a walkthrough with the players. Does that just kind of give them that little extra, get the juices flowing a little bit?
I don't know if it does or not. You know, I'm just, that's something that was kind of requested, and I would think it kind of like makes it, kind of gives them more in the mode of understanding, like, hey, I got to go represent our community, our city, our town, and school. There's a lot of people out here that care about us.
Exactly. Coach, congratulations on the 3-0 start. Looking to go 4-0 against Oxford on Friday night. Get here early, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the weather, because we certainly deserve some good weather for Friday night. For Coach Ty Harden, I'm Greg Ellis, and this is Gridiron Takes.